everyone. Thank you for joining Lewis University's television network. Today is Wednesday, March 17th, 2021. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm Carl Zahn.
And I'm Luis Chavez.
And we begin with our top international and local stories. This past weekend, Chicago residents were surprised when they woke up to a green river. Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot surprised residents to honor the tradition. The dyeing wasn't announced to avoid big crowds gathering, and the Chicago Plumbers Union left trails of green dye behind their boats as they dyed the river. The tradition of dyeing the Chicago River green dates back to 1962.
High school students are at a critical point in their lives during the pandemic. College admissions is here to help them in deciding what to do in the future. Here's Lewis reporter Mary Golden with her story.
Junior and senior high school students are at a critical moment in their education. Many students are graduating soon, and searching for college is a struggle. The normal college visit is quite different due to the pandemic. The biggest question for them to answer is, where to go from here? Lewis University freshman admission counselor Tyler Olson describes how colleges are assisting upperclassmen with the decision-making process.
But the admissions world has adjusted and modified itself to accommodate for the students during this pandemic. You know, there's a lot more research out there. There's a lot more accessibility that universities are providing to their students. There's a lot more recordings and videos that go onto the university's websites in order for students to obtain information that they couldn't get if this was like an in-person event and they couldn't attend.
According to a Carnegie Dartlet report conducted in June 2020, 75% of high school students are using college websites to seek information, an increase from 66% of students in the past. As of November 2020, 40% of students are still searching for information for the fall 2021 semester before applying. Marist High School junior Michael explains what the college search looks like in the midst of COVID-19 and his experiences touring colleges.
I think it's a lot harder to find a college now just to do and visit all the tours at colleges. In most colleges, if they even have tours, it's going to be outdoors, so you can't even see the inside facilities of the dorms.
The one thing that wasn't necessarily factored into doing all of these Zoom calls is the vulnerability of it all. You're in your home. The admissions counselor gets to see you in your home, and that's just very vulnerable for some people, which we completely understand.
I honestly feel like most of the colleges are doing their best as they can with all the virtual tours, and now you're able to schedule meetings with their admission counselors if you have any questions, because honestly with Corona you can't do much. So.
Virtual walking tours are available through colleges on their websites for students to view the campus remotely. Many colleges have opened up their doors for scheduled tours throughout the school year. For LUTN, I'm Mary Golden.
Thank you so much, Mary, for that story. You know, thinking back to when I was applying to colleges and taking my tours and all of that stuff, it's very different than what students are going through right now.
Yeah, no, completely. And I'm really proud of the university here at Lewis to adapt their programs to really get some new students interested in, applying.
Of course, I really hope that, students kind of see this as a challenge that they can overcome instead of let's just not go to college this year.
Completely. On Monday, the director of Illinois Department of Public Health, Dr. Ngozi Ezike, said that Illinois is getting closer to moving out of Phase 4 and into Phase 5. On Monday, the state reached a record high number of vaccinations with the 7-day average above 100,000 doses a day. Right now, our state is 12% vaccinated against COVID-19, and we need to reach 80% in order to achieve herd immunity. Illinois officials are currently working on a phased reopening plan. Some of the details of those plans may be released as early as later this week. Dr. Ezike said that he doesn't plan on getting rid of face masks anytime soon.
Education has been greatly affected by the pandemic and caused many teachers to adapt to new ways of teaching. How have private and public schools handled the pandemic differently? LUTN reporter Margarita Cremitis has a story.
The city of Chicago is home to more than 600 public schools and 1,225 private schools. Due to the pandemic, educational staff and students were one of the most affected groups during this time, with each school handling the pandemic in different ways. I had the opportunity to speak with St. Symphorosa School's principal, Kathy Berry, to discuss how the pandemic has changed the Chicago private school.
Our school, in terms of the effect of the pandemic on our school, we shut down last March, just like everybody else. But then this summer, we had to develop a plan to reopen safely. So we had to form committees with teachers, a safety committee, and then also a curriculum committee, and plan to open our doors. We lost a lot of our preschool students this year due to the pandemic. Families kept their preschoolers home. So that, in my mind, is going to have a large impact on their education moving forward, depending on what's been happening at home. Across the whole Archdiocese of Chicago, all Catholic schools opened in either August or September. So we opened for in-person learning in August on our normal date. We changed our procedures for entering school. Instead of using 2 doors, we started using 3 doors. And we also expanded our time in the morning for children to enter the building, because we're taking everyone's temperature, asking about symptoms, and giving hand sanitizer in the morning. So that we used to do a 15-minute window, but now we do a half an hour window.
It was recently announced that CPS high school students will have the option to return to in-person learning. So far, pre-K through 8th grade CPS students have returned to in-person learning. Nathan Hale Elementary School teacher Mary Beth Murphy has the insight on how Chicago public schools and teachers were affected and how they have adjusted to teaching during a pandemic.
Because of the COVID pandemic, I only have 12 desks in my room, which generally seats 30. And the desks are 6 feet apart. There's an extra filter in my classroom. There's hand sanitizer outside my classroom. And the students, when they're in the classroom, generally do not get out of their seats. They're sitting in their seats for the majority of the day. Our school, which I think was really smart, we kept the day as normal. So they're in class from 8:45 to 2:45. If you're remote, you're on a half hour. You have asynchronous work for a half hour. You're on a half hour. You have asynchronous work for half hour. The kids really need to know that you love and that you care about them, because I think that is like the key to getting children to do well. If they know you want the best for them, they'll do it. They really will.
With COVID-19 cases slowly declining in the state of Illinois, we can only hope that we continue to get back to normalcy. For more information on how to prevent COVID-19 within your school, please visit the State of Illinois Coronavirus Response at coronavirus.illinois.gov. For LUTN, I'm Margarita Cremidas.
Thank you so much for that story, Margarita.
Manny's Deli, located in Chicago, just presented a 30-day challenge for its customers. The 79-year-old deli said it's going to give out free sandwiches if the deli can go 30 days without telling people to fix their masks. The deli tweeted out the challenge on Monday, stating that workers are constantly telling customers to not pull their mask down when ordering or to put it on when going to the bathroom. The deli is tweeting out updates with how many people they need to correct. Coming up, we'll take a look into leading entertainment headlines.
And later, we have the latest on COVID news. Stay with us.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right, because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign, not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Or maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all, if I could go back, I would. But I can't.
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy all day long. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, and she even talks to it. She talks to that more than she talks to him. What's up, bro? Nice shirt. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
A hotel that was once a tourist magnet, the Indian Lakes Hotel, is shutting down 1 month after a shooting. The hotel's business license was suspended in early February after one person was killed and 6 others wounded when gunfire broke out at a party in the western suburb of Bloomingdale. Police said there was no security at the hotel at the time of the shooting, just one employee who heard the gunshots and called 911. Police say this isn't the first time they've been called to the hotel. The owners put the site up for sale with a listing price of $6.5 million.
On Tuesday, Prince Philip was released from the hospital after undergoing a heart procedure for an infection. Philip had been hospitalized since February 16th at the private King Edward VII Hospital in London. His illness is said to not be related to COVID-19. Although he did have some heart issues in the past. In 2011, he suffered from chest pains and had been treated for a blockage on his coronary artery.
Sunday was music's biggest night with the Grammy Awards. It was a great night for women who won all 4 of the major categories. Taylor Swift made history with being the first woman to win Album of the Year 3 times. Record of the Year went to Billie Eilish, and she also won Best Song Written for Visual Media. Song of the Year went to I Can't Breathe by her. Best Pop Solo Performance went to Harry Styles for Watermelon Sugar, which was his first solo Grammy, and he also had an amazing performance that night.
Demi Lovato went on her Instagram to announce an upcoming album, and her album is going to be called Dancing with the Devil, The Art of Starting Over. One of the songs featured in the album will be Anyone, which she performed at the 2020 Grammys. This will be her first album since 2017, as she has been in press in recent years with headlines concerning her struggles and mental health. Her album will be released on Friday, April 2nd.
Veteran actor Jeffert Cotto passed away on Monday at the age of 81. Cotto was born in New York City and studied acting as a teenager, performing in such plays as Othello and The Great White Hope on Broadway. His big break on film came in 1973, playing the James Bond villain Mr. Big from Live and Let Die opposite Roger Moore. Cotto's other major film credits include Alien, The Running Man, and Midnight Run. The 90s saw Cotto co-star on the television series Homicide: Life on the Street. Cotto's cause of death isn't known at this time. When we return, we have your day's top COVID headlines.
Stay with us.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign, not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy all day long. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, and she even talks to it. She talks to that more than she talks to him. What's up, bro? Nice shirt. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
Despite the positive outlook of a vaccine, COVID-19 has taken a toll on the mental health of students. Mental health counseling, directed to improve the well-being of students, has become even more vital since 2020. LUTN reporter Emily Krivigrad takes a look at how online learning and the stress of the pandemic has affected students.
At the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, student Lainey Nelson struggled to excel in her courses after the pandemic hit. As a psychology major with minors in integrated biology and chemistry, most of her pre-pandemic classes were already challenging lecture-based courses. Here's Lainey on her experience taking all online courses when she returned to campus for the fall 2020 semester.
We came back to school and it started and all of my classes were online. I had an anatomy lab dissection online where they're asking us to find the different muscles. Think of that on blurry Zoom and them saying, you need to be able to do this for the test. And then every single practical, I couldn't see the pictures. So I would get like an F.
Lainey made the ultimate decision to take a year off from school and currently works at an urgent care clinic while studying for the MCAT. She is still on track to graduate next spring.
The other thing that's so hard about being in the pandemic with anxiety and with depression is that usually to the people around you, there's warning signs, but you can't see them now. Usually my friends would like kind of know something was wrong if I was sick a lot, like I didn't go out and I didn't go to my classes. But now it's just so much easier to just fade into the back.
For students currently enrolled in classes, mental health counselors can help. Here's psychotherapist Deborah Koopman on the ways students can alleviate their stress.
So I think it's really trying to decide in terms of coping mechanisms, trying to decide what is self-care versus like self-sabotage. For instance, if you do calm down by watching Netflix, say, watching 1 or 2 episodes of your favorite show is a good coping strategy, but binge watching it all night is not a good coping strategy. That's what I would call like self-sabotage. It's all that, how much am I doing a certain activity? Is it self-care or am I doing it too much because I'm avoiding or I am sabotaging myself some way?
Though the vaccine promises an eventual end in sight to the pandemic, COVID-19 and safety measures have drastically affected the mental health of college students. Increased concerns surrounding the health of loved ones as well as difficulty adjusting to online classes has led to increased stress and anxiety in young adults.
The pandemic has presented us with something we've never dealt with before. Normally navigating transitions, there is uncertainty, but a lot of people have usually experienced them. What's been different about the pandemic is that we've never been in a pandemic. So it's hard to know how to navigate and get that support because a lot of times we don't have answers because there are no answers right now. So that's made this transition much more difficult.
For Lewis students, the Health and Counseling Center can help improve students' mental health. Throughout 2020, counselors met with nearly 300 student clients. Here's Jill Whitaker, Director of Counseling Services, on how appointments changed due to COVID-19.
The one significant thing that I noticed is that stress is the number one reason for seeking services now versus anxiety. But then once we kind of unpack things, we recognize that it's really some natural anxieties that are coming up with such a chaotic year and so many different kinds of pressures than we're facing.
While completing school has proved to be a challenge for students, there are resources for those in need of some help. The Lewis Health and Counseling Services is currently taking appointments and plans to host several Mindful Moments, Stay Up, and Pathways events throughout the month of March. For LUTN, I'm Emily Krivograd.
Thank you so much, Emily, for that story.
In LA County, businesses began to reopen again. The county closed down most, if not all, public centers since last spring due to the rapid spread of coronavirus. The nation's largest county, with a population of 10.4 million, has been the epicenter of the country's deadly winter surge of cases that led to more than 10,500 deaths over 2 months. The reopening of the county has given its community hopes of society returning to normal. Public places are still at capacity. Cautions and warnings are still being given out to people violating state regulations as a result of the virus.
The Girl Scouts of Greater Chicago and Northwest Indiana have taken cookie sales on the road by using a mobile cookie van. Last weekend, the van traveled the Chicagoland area and has made its way to Chicago on Tuesday. The van is to make cookie buying safer during COVID-19, and precautions have been put in place for safe and socially distanced in-person cookie purchases. The cookie van can be tracked through Girl Scouts GSNI's digital cookie finder to see where the van will be located. Deliveries and contact-free pickup are offered through a national collaboration of Grubhub as well as online ordering.
The CDC has recently released its safety guidelines for those wanting to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. Its main piece of advice is to stay home and avoid going out for any celebrations taking place at a family and friends' houses or in restaurants and bars. The CDC advises participating in virtual St. Patrick's Day celebrations, having a masked, socially distanced celebration, or just making Irish-inspired recipes and decorating your home. These guidelines mirror the safety measures the CDC came out with before Thanksgiving and Christmas. In the meantime, the CDC still recommends frequent hand washing, social distancing, and getting the vaccine. That's it for today's news. Thank you for watching. As a reminder, you can always keep up with Lewis News on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and visiting our YouTube channel. I'm Carl Zahn.
I'm Luis Chavez. Have a great St. Patrick's Day.